Hi, I'm Mark from L&M Small Engine. Today we're working on a Coleman Minibike with a Predator 212cc engine. These Coleman Minibikes originally came out with that 196cc engine, but as you can see, they upgraded the motor and put a different carburetor on and stuff. Well, anyways, we got to put a different crankshaft in it because it had the two-stage clutch on it, and something happened and it broke the bolt off in the center of the crank, and they started drilling it, and they broke the drill bit off in there. And once it happens, any kind of drill bit you use, it's going to dull it right away. Plus it has a little bend in it, so something drastic does happen. So we're going to take the motor out of the mini bike and put a new crankshaft in it. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the top of the carburetor off here. I'll leave this there. Unhook that. Overflow hoses off the carburetor. And looks like we got a ground over here. We'll unhook. I'll go ahead and unplug this. So all the wiring should be unhooked off the motor. Now we can go to the other side and we'll take that exhaust pipe off because that's probably going to be in the way when we take the motor out. Then we have to unhook the chain and everything. So we'll venture off to the other side now. We'll go ahead and take these nuts off for that muffler pipe. Could leave it on, but it's just probably going to be in the way. Okay, now we can go and take that chain guard off and find the connecting link to the chain. I have to spin it around here. I found the connecting link. Go and take the chain off here. And we'll go and take this two-stage clutch plate off. I'm going to soak that chain in some oil. It's getting kind of dry there, so I'll probably soak that in some oil. So now we're going to go ahead and take these 4 bolts off, and this whole plate should come off. Okay, now we can go ahead and take the 4 bolts off. We're just going to take it off that adapter plate there. The motor sits on this adapter plate here. So let's take these 4 bolts out of the bottom. Then we'll have the motor sitting on the table. Then we're going to go ahead and take the side cover off and everything. And take the flywheel off and everything and switch crankshafts. So. Okay, I took them 4 bolts out. There we go. Next step is going to be to drain the oil. So we'll drain the oil, and we'll go ahead and split her apart. I'm gonna let it drain for about an hour or so. Try getting all, because it's gonna be a sloppy mess taking it apart. Yeah, I put a hammer on the one end here to lift the back end up, and I got my oil pan on the floor here. Take this drain plug out here. I'll let that drain for a while. You're still going to be oil. I don't want to take it apart, but I'll try getting a lot of it out as I can so I don't make too big a mess. So once it's drained, we'll go and start tearing it apart. Okay, we got the oil all drained out and everything. Now I want to get all the dirt and dust around everything that we're going to take apart, so we try to keep the inside of the motor as clean as possible. Okay. Then we'll go to this side here. We're going to go ahead and take the spark plug out so there's no compression in it. And we'll go ahead and take the valve cover off. And when I do each step of these, I like using like an old butter thing or a Cool Whip cream container, and I like keep all the bolts and nuts and with that in that jug for that compartment, so I don't lose anything, or I'm looking through one bucket with all the different bolts and screws. It's just a lot more simpler that way. So let's go ahead and pop that plug out real quick. Oh, when we take the side off and everything, we can run the piston up and down without any compression or anything. So then I'm going to take the valve cover off. Then we're 8mm. Try not ripping the gasket. I have all that in one bucket, so we put all that together. Stuff in that bucket's right there. Now we're going to go ahead and take the shroud off so we can get to the flywheel, because we're going to take the flywheel off next. I'll use a different cup for these. And there should be one down here. Go ahead and plug that wire. Okay, now we gotta take that nut off the flywheel. See what size that is. Gotta take it all the way off. I'm gonna take this off here so I don't bust the fins off that. I'm gonna put that back on there, right? So it's pretty much flush, because I'm gonna put a pry bar under here and just tap on this to break it loose. Those on there pretty good. Usually they pop right off. I'll put one down here. There we go. But having that nut on there, that way you don't ruin the threads. Gotta be careful that key. Sometimes they pop out, but that one's in there. So the new crankshaft should have a new key anyway. But as you can see, there's dirt around here, around that seal. We're gonna go ahead and blow all that out. Just don't want no contamination inside the motor. So now we can go ahead and take this side off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a towel out because I don't want oil seeping all over. So I'll get a towel laid out, then we'll take that side off. Okay, I'm just getting gasket set in the crankcase out of the box. And as you can see, they folded this up and it ruined the head gasket. That steel rim right there, it's just ruined right there. So that's why I really don't want to take the head off. But if worst comes to worst, I have to do that. But when they buy this stuff on the mail and, you know, when you get it shipped, that's what happens. Pan gasket right here, that looks like that's in good shape. But yeah, that head gasket is ruined. So when you order stuff online, sometimes you take that gamble. You can get this stuff dirt cheap, but when they pack it, I don't think they're thinking very clearly. Like this is a Briggs motor or something, or the crankshaft and the gasket said it'd probably come in a 2-foot square box, but everything's straight. They packed the crap out of it really good. A lot of this stuff, I don't think they really care. There's a new crankshaft here. And it does come with a new flywheel key. So we don't gotta worry about taking one out of the other one. So let's go and take these bolts out. These are all 10 millimeter. I'm gonna use a separate bucket for these. Some people might think it's kind of silly, but I might work on something and I don't have a part, so I have to order it. Then I put this something off to the side, and when I get the part, it's a lot easier figuring what goes where. But you can do it whatever way is easier for you. Grab a screwdriver here. Gently pry up around it. And there you go. This motor even has ball bearings in it. That's pretty awesome. Okay, that's the inside of our motor. And as you can see, there's dots here. So if we go ahead and turn this, the piston should go all the way up. And there's a little dot right there and one there. That's your timing right there. So when we put this thing all together again, we have to line them up. Make sure the lifters are loose. I'm gonna kind of lean this up so this side's up, so when I pull that cam out, I I have stuff to slide on in there. I'm trying to make this simple as possible. So let me find something to prop that up real quick. I use the recoil housing to prop that up. Just pop that out. If you have it laying down, these will slide out. So if you have it like that. So now we gotta turn this crank around so we can get to the bolts and loosen them up a little bit. Looks like a 10 millimeter. Before you loosen them up, kind of see actually how tight they are, so when you put it back together you can get it about the right tension. You got one out. Okay. Now just turn this, we'll just push that piston back in there up out of the way. We couldn't do that if we had the spark plug back in there. And there we go. There's our old crankshaft. And you kind of see how it kind of bends down a little bit, but see, they tried, that bolt broke in there and they tried drilling it out, and just a little piece of drill bit broke off, and you can buy $100 drill bit or $1 drill bit. If that little piece of drill bit's still in there, it'll just dull it right away. So just kind of compare them. Look the same to me. Okay. Now I'm gonna flip it back over the other side, and I'm gonna put that seal in on the flywheel side. And you have it apart. They come with new seals. Here's the new seals. We just might as well put them in there. Don't have to worry about stuff down the road then. I'll pop this old gasket off, and where it's still on there, we'll take a razor blade and clean it off so it's a nice clean surface. So when we install the new gasket, it won't leak. You know, some parts of this that are really hard, you can use on them little wire brushes that you put on your drill, and that cleans it off real good too. Just make sure you're wearing eye protection, so one of them little wire strands don't hit you in the eyeball. Okay. There's our seal right there. Go ahead and pop it out, then clean this edge really good. Make sure ain't no dirt and stuff in there. I believe the PTO side and 50 side are the same exact thing. Make sure they're the same numbers. Yeah, 41.25, 41.25. Some people like tap them in there like this. Some people like putting a little sealant on this. We're just gonna put a little dab of sealant on there. That's what I like doing when I overhaul motors. It's not something you have to do, but when you fix stuff for a living, you hate having stuff come back because you didn't properly do it right. But you just put a nice thin coat. Don't need to be very thick. It just helps it stay in there. When I do stuff like this on motors, I like using that Permatex black adhesive sealant. That stuff seems to work pretty good. And just gently tap this thing in. Go around the whole thing, make sure it's flush. Don't over put it in there like what I did. We can go ahead and flip her back over again. Want to see what happens when I did that? The lifter rod's popped out, but that's all right. Now we can go ahead and put that new sealant on this side. There's the old one. Let me turn this camera down so you can see this side here. Make sure you clean that out real good. Grab our new seal. This takes just a little bit. This a thin coat around it. This one here was pushed all the way in, and on one other side it was flush, so I'm just gonna put it back together same way it was when I tore it apart. Swipe the excess off. And before we go ahead and put this in here, I'm going to put a little lithium grease on them seals. I like using white lithium grease on these. Just spray it in here. Just get that seal all lubricated. And we'll do the same on the other side. Because when you're sliding that shaft in there, you don't want to kick that. There's a spring that goes around inside the center of that seal. You know, take here's an old seal. So there's that spring and everything there. It keeps that nice and tight. You keep that seal nice and lubricated. Sometimes this will bend over and that spring will actually pop out and it'll leak oil. And you don't want that. Spend all this time on the motor like that and have something like that happen. That won't make your day any better. You have to go and take everything all apart. Some dirty oil left on the inside of this. Make sure you get that all nice and clean. Then our next step is to go ahead and put this thing back together again. Okay, we're going to take some of that lithium grease. I'm going to put it on the flywheel side seal. Okay. We got a new crankshaft here. I'm going to clean where the piston rod goes and where it goes into the bearings on each side here. And I'm going to take some grease. Okay, we're going to stick it in there, and as we stick it in there, we'll slowly turn it so we don't tear the seal or anything. Just like that. And if we look on the flywheel side, okay. Okay, in the spark plug hole, I'm going to spray a little bit of WD-40 in there. Just help lube them rings a little bit. Then we're going to push the piston rod back down. Just go gently. I'm going to clean this bottom of the connecting rod, make sure it's nice and clean. And this little thing here, that's what it's like, an oil splasher. Make sure it's pointing down. Grab our piston rod bolts. Get them started. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Tighten them down as much as you can with your hands. And right here, make sure it's locked into place. There's like a little lip right here. And there's two lines right there. Make sure that's all lined up. And before we start, I tightened one of the bolts. I kind of had a feel for how tight these are. You don't want these snug, but you don't want to strip them out either, but you don't want it to fall apart. I have a torque wrench, but there's no way I could get that in here with the socket. Double check these real quick. Okay, now we can put our lifters back in. Then being that these fall out, we're gonna have to make sure the push rods are gonna go in this little dimple right here. Now we gotta find that little dot on the crank. And there it is right there. I'll clean it off. You can't see it because I have grease on there. There's that little dot right there. Take our cam, and while we have our cam off, it has this decompression system on it. Make sure that spring's intact and everything. So when this is turned at low RPM, it won't let the valve go down all the way until it starts up. And the centrifugal force will pull it away, then it'll run normal. Find our dot, and we're going to line it up to That little dot. And we'll turn it. And see how they're both lined up right there? That means it's going to be in time. So let me turn this around here so you can see this here. Yeah, now we're going to connect the push rods. I have to shine a flashlight in there. Make sure they go in the little dimples on the lifters. It looks like they're both in there. So we'll push down on the valve and we'll just like that. There. I think we're going to need to adjust them a little bit. And all these different manufacturers on these Chinese motors all have different specs. But what I do, you know, everybody's different. Everybody has their own opinion. But I like setting the intake at 3 and the exhaust at 5. You know, some are different. Some are 3 and 3. Some are 3 and 4. I just like setting mine at 3 and 5 because the exhaust heats up faster than the intake, and you get that stretch. So I'll get the feeler gauge. We'll do that real quick. Let's actually set right on 3. Then we got our 4, then our 5. That one's a little loose, so. Need a 14 here. And we'll tighten the let's check that gap. Right there. So then we'll go ahead and hold that right there. Then we'll go ahead and tighten this 10 millimeter on top. That way it won't work itself loose. And there we go. So before we go any further, let's spin this around, make sure our lifters are working. Let's put the flywheel on and we're going to spin the flywheel out, make more sense. Be a lot easier. You don't want to use a pair of pliers or anything on that shaft. We got this little notch right here. That's where that flywheel key goes. We put the fan back on. So it only goes on one way. Get that put on there like that. Just gonna hand tighten it right now until we make sure everything's good to go. We don't want to put too much pressure on this when we spin it because we don't have that back plate on there. I just want to make sure the lifters and everything are working. The intake's going down. Now the exhaust. So everything's looking good now. Let's just double check our timing. And there we go, both. That little dimple right there and that, they're both lined up. So I'm gonna go ahead and tear open this. Oh, that's kind of bad right there too. I didn't even notice that. That damn gasket is broke. So here when you get this stuff, it's all folded up together. So I'm just gonna go find another pan gasket real quick. And we'll go from there. I looked all over for a gasket. I don't have one. So what I did, where it was tore, I put sealer on the bottom really thick and put some on top. Try to put a little bit more on top. And we'll put oil in there, and if it starts leaking, I'll just order a new pan gasket. But if I get a new one, it's probably more than likely going to be in the same condition as this one was. But I got the adhesive silicone on there. So we're going to give her a try. And I got that white lithium grease on the seal. And you know, it's tapered right there, so we'll gently put it on there. And pop it right into place just like that. Okay, now we can put our bolts in. See, one container just for bolts, so I don't get stuff mixed up. It's a lot easier for me. I got so much stuff going on. I'm not going to tighten these quite yet. I'm just going to go and tilt it up, and I'm going to spin the flywheel, make sure nothing's binding up. Seems to spin real nice. Lifters are working good and everything. So we can go ahead and tighten these down. We'll struggle with this, and we'll use the torque wrench on them. Okay, I'll go grab the torque wrench. Okay, I got this set on 40 inch-pounds, like we said. You want it snug and tight, but you don't want to over tighten it. Just turn it till it clicks. Okay, now we can go ahead and tighten up the flywheel. Before you get too carried away, let's put that valve cover on and put some oil in this. You don't want to forget to put oil in these. So I got a new gasket for the valve cover. Surprised that ain't tore. I got the head gasket out of the bag, and as you can see right there, that metal ring is shot. So good thing we have to take the head off. There's our old head gasket. There ain't nothing wrong with it, but we got a new one, so. Get a couple of these started here. Okay. Now I'm going to put oil in there. So you do not want to forget to do that. Let's see which one of these is a dipstick side. There we go. And on these particular motors, they recommend 1030. So I'll go grab some 1030 and we'll fill this thing up. Okay, I put the 1030 oil in it. Check the dipstick. Just push it in like that without screwing it in. It should be like halfway. And we screw it in, it'll be almost to the top. Make This on there nice and tight, and make sure it ain't leaking under here where I put that gasket sealant on there. I'm gonna put our new plug in. Now we can put our shroud on with the recoil starter on it. And be able to get this thing back in the mini bike here in a little bit. Make sure all the holes line up there. And I'm not putting this top corner one in because that's where that ground wire goes on the frame of the mini bike. So now all we gotta do is put it back on the mini bike. Okay, I got the motor bolted in. Now we gotta hook up the wiring and put the piston back in the carburetor and stuff. We hook up the ground wire so when you shut it off, or when you flip the switch, it'll shut off. And I'll go ahead and plug that in. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these bolts out this recoil and turn it around. So you end up ruining that rope right there. So put a twist tie on that there. Okay, on this carburetor piston, on one side there's a shaft that goes all the way up and down. That keeps the slider shaft. And that little indentation there, that's for your idle. And want this to go in there straight. And make sure it slides all the way down. Put that nice and snug. And then you run the throttle. Make sure it ain't bound up anywhere. Let's go ahead. The sticker's not going to line up, but right there, so the rope will be like right there. You won't burn that rope. There we go. Now we can go to the other side and hook that clutch up. Okay, you kind of see where the original holes were. Okay, we got a new secondary clutch and a new primary clutch because they had some epic failure on the old one. So we're going to go ahead and pop that off. Well, we have it off. I might as well put that chain on. I soaked it in some oil. Put the keeper on it here real quick. Don't tell me that don't even fit. Alright, one don't even fit, so I guess we have to use the old one. Hope that front clutch fits. The springs in there and the sliders look good on this one. Better put that washer on there first. Now I'm worried. I hope that front one fits. Okay, we'll go ahead and put the belt on. See that? I don't even think that's gonna fit. That looks like it's for a... It's for like an inch shaft. Well, I ordered a different clutch, but we can still see if we get this started. I just put gas in it. Make sure the switch is on. It only has a little bit of get up and go. I think once I get the right clutch for it. When I ordered it said 3/4 shaft, and they sent me an inch shaft one, but the motor runs great. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. It's kind of a little bit longer than normal, but appreciate you watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe. And anyways, you have a good afternoon. Bye.